Hi, I'm Geodab, and what we're going to do today is have a updated look at some issues and things, bits and pieces, when using the up-to-date, well I say up-to-date, December 2015 versions of Blender, Unreal Engine 4 and maybe not quite so up-to-date version of the Apex standalone tool. This is to basically show the workflow which I would say would be required now to get things to work to some extent. Okay, so let's crack on, and because it's not going to be short and sweet, trust me. Right, as you saw there, Blender 2.76b, and I have my metric, I have it set up now to use the metric units and the scale at 0.010. This gives us a scale of centimetres, although we'll quite often see scalings in the metre range, which is a little bit off-putting, but we're going to have to live with it. Right, so what we're going to do, look at this. Blue Peter yet again, and here's one I prepared earlier. So what I'm going to very quickly do is unparent that, Alt-P, clear parent, now select that one, Alt-P, clear parent, and get rid of the armature. Why? You'll see in a minute. Right, so what we have here, I do have issues with displaying on this, but on Blender, had it for a few versions. Any tips and hints, please let me know. Excuse me. Right, so what we have here is a T-bone pole and a couple of flags. Okay, so what I'm going to do is actually save this as let's say 5, just to make sure there's no complications and I don't get mixed up. Okay, right, so the first thing you'll want to do is, once you have this set up, is export it. Like that. Oh, come on, Geo, give us a break. Export it, FBX, checking everything here. That is going to be one of the most annoying things you're going to ever find, but we'll deal with that in a minute. Okay, so you can see I've been doing this quite a bit the last few days. So T-flag test 05, export, Unreal Engine. This is where I left off in my last video. Okay, right, new folder, flag 05. And just to make sure it's nice and clear that I'm not cheating, as if, who cares. Right, anyway, let's just show you engine version 4.10.1. Like I say, December 2015. So we're just going to import flag into test. No, that was the one that I'd done to the day, and here we go, test flag, yes, often, now this is, yeah, because remember it's a static mesh, Geo, yeah, okay, alright, I'm just, for the one time only, I'm ticking import materials and textures, you'll see why. Because I've changed this texture and I can't be bothered to re-import it. Okay, so skin 00, yeah, smashing, nothing fantastic, save. Get that one out of there. Right, this other material, yeah. Got very lazy with my naming and forgot. What we need to do here is expand this out, bring that down. That's just on that, that's not what I want. Highlight that one, and in here, two-sided. Yay! There we go. Yes, right, and in here, as you can see, yeah, nice smashing. Go around the other side, and you can actually see it on the other side. Okay, approximate size 180 by 8 by 184. Yeah, fine, happy with that. And as I always advise, let's see, just save all. So there's no complications. Save untitled maps. Yeah, go for it. And yeah, no smoothing. Yeah. We've all been there. Right, just bring it in here and check the size against the mannequin. Okay, that's your third person. If for whatever reason you don't have that, you can always go into the content browser, add feature. You'll get something like this: content packs, blueprint. I always go for the blueprint features, and first person, no, not really going to help much, but the third person, that will give you that mannequin and a few animals. Okay, right, so we know our size is correct. Right, so we've exported fine from Blender, the size is okay. In the shadow, always comes wrong, yeah, whatever. Alright, and we've got our materials set up. Right, next job. Don't close, just hide. Wrong. Right, front view. Next thing what we're going to do is make sure our 3D cursor is at 0. So in this panel, if it's not there for you and you're not sure, press N for November, and that pops it in and out. Okay, on the tools panel, we want to create, and we want to create a armature. Now, if that's not there, I think that's T. Yeah, T. T for tools. Okay, just a few basic tips. Some people may have never actually bothered with that, so right, where was it? Armature. There we go. Armature made and created. Smashing. Right, so what we go in here? Bone. Go over here, bone. And just go up pole. And what do we know? It's gone straight into edit mode, which is fantastic because I want to duplicate that bone. And if you didn't notice, I right-clicked. I moved, right-clicked, and that put it back into its original position. So we're going to change the name on this to top. Now you may be wondering why I'm doing this, because people should actually know how to do this. Not everybody does. So press 1 to get the front view, perspective, pressing 5 there to switch between orthology and perspective views. Now what I want to do here is just move that bone top. So I'm just going to move it up, grab it, move it up a bit, and I won't say it's not important, but it is. Okay, I'm going to do something rather strange here, but right, that one. I'm just going to. Normally, what I do here is, let's see, that is the head. I don't normally eyeball these things, and I'm going to correct that shortly and just make sure I've got the right one bit here. We'll change that to 90 and change that to 1.8, and here goes 1.8 centimeters. Thank you. Told you it was going to cause me headaches. Okay, here on the head we're going to go minus 90 and Z being 180. Yeah, 3 darts in the ball. Okay, so we're happy with that? Not quite, because what we need to do is select that bone, right click into select, hold shift, select the first bone, control P, which is to make parent, and you want to keep the offset. This isn't going to help us at all later, but hey ho, that's life. I mean, by rights I should have just made that bone go straight up, but you'll see why shortly. Now, what we're doing, tabbing out of edit mode, I'm going to select, right click select the mesh, hold shift, select the armature, control P, which is set to parent, and we want armature deform with empty groups. Okay, now for a relatively simple mesh like this, it is advisable to go with empty groups because it makes what I'm going to do now a lot easier. So we're going to go into the pole, which is the T-pole, and I'm going to edit the vertex groups. So I go onto the data pole, and as you can see, not a lot we can do here, so I have to tab in and get into edit mode. Now it's already showing you that I've been at this before. Right, so what we're going to do is set the vertex weights for the parts that are not going to be affected. Now, I'll just remember, I haven't mentioned something, but I'll try to remember it before we go much further. Okay, so press B for box select. That doesn't do what I'm wanting it to do because I'm not doing vertices. Right, deselect with A, again, no, wait, Z. Press Z to get the wireframe view, because otherwise you will not select the vertices that are at the back. So press B to get your box select and get the top of the box. Basically, these are the vertices on the crossbar of the pole, plus the very top looped vertices of the flag. And now press B again and get the bottom vertices of the vertical pole. And what we're going to do is the weight here in the right hand panel is set to 1, which is what we want. Highlighted bone pole is assign, and just to make sure, click on the top and click on remove. Now we're going to do the exact same thing but on the other ones. Right, press A to deselect, B. Now I'm just going to select the ones that are the actual flag material, and this time I'm going to, with bone top selected, assign and pole remove. Now it's very easy to do this on just a two bone setup. I'm just basically making sure that none of these vertices have got any weighting applied or assigned to the other bone. Okay, so let's get out of that. Let's get out of Z and in object mode. Now, what I forgot. Let's see, texture mode. There we go. and we'll just hide the armature for the moment. Now, as you saw when I exported as a static mesh, I have got two materials here, and for some reason it's not showing on here. Oh dear. There we go. It's because I'm still not. Okay, so what I've got is the actual material set as the first material, and skin 00 set as the second. I believe, please don't quote me on this, it is not really an issue anymore, but I do prefer, at least at the moment, to have the material that is going to have the cloth information to be in the top material slot. I think it works if it's in other ones. If not, I'm just going on the safe side. Right, so now we have everything here. Now I'm just going to make sure I have nothing selected. I'm pressing A to make sure everything is deselected. Let's see, save, yep. Now we're going to go to the FBX exporter, and it's going to tell us, yes, you've already got one named that. Of course I have, not a problem. This is where we have to be extremely careful, because we're going to use FBX 7.4 binary. Setup scale is at 1. I'm not going to bother with forward and up. I'm going to leave all this as it is, because I have got a empty scene which just has my armature and my mesh. I don't work with cameras, lamps or other bits and pieces. In the geometry, face, it's, trust me, if you start going onto these bits, it just throws errors at you left, right and centre. Armature, you may find that it says add leaf bones, which is on by default. So please be aware, before you export it, make sure you go to the armatures and untick add leaf bones. I've tried using only deformed bones, but that seems to delete all my bones. So with that, bear in mind, let's export it, and you guessed it, we're going to go into Unreal Engine. Now, I know you say, you said we're going to do cloth. Exactly, we are going to do cloth. But what I want you to do is go into the engine, import, well in fact, let's see, get rid of that, and get rid of that. Because we're using the same name and we don't want to get things confused. Import, FBX5, open. Now you can see, yeah, oh look, it's a skeletal mesh. Yes, fantastic. Normal and tangents, yeah, go for it. T-pose, smooth and groups. Import meshes in bone hierarchy. Nope. Okay, that should be fine. There we go. Now again, testing, 1, 2, 3. Right, size, looks a bit strange, different to what we had earlier. So, we've got everything else on there. Now this is why I say check. Right, skeleton. Make sure, unfortunately, due to the FBX exporter that we're using, it always exports the armature as the root bone. Extremely annoying. Blender people, as far as I know about this issue, and I'll leave it at that because I don't want to get into a flame war. Okay, so what we're going to do here is just pull it out here, and yes, we have the same size. Okay, happy, smashing, save all, dink. Right, next what we do is we go in here. I am using the, as it says there, Apex SDK 132 build 6, and as you can see this is October 2014. I believe there is a newer version, but to be honest I couldn't, well I won't say I couldn't find it, but I don't really think there's been any changes that much. So you need to go into, well, with this version, the binary, the 32-bit version, and we want clothing to profile. Okay, let's just minimize that. Now in here, I told you it's going to be a long one. Load your mesh, number 5. Don't want to save the changes, and there we go. And here you can see your different materials. Now this is where the fun starts. Now we could go straight into doing the cloth and all the rest of it, but some people have realised that the cloth actually doesn't collide with the mesh. And yes, you're quite right. And one of my subscribers, I do apologise, I could not find your link or your name. It's been a few months, and you know who you are. Please, if you watch this video, give us a shout, remind me, and it's thanks to you that we actually got this information. So right, before we go on, right, select the material, generate tangent space. Isn't going to harm it. Now what we need to do first is generate collisions, and this is where it gets funny. So I'm going to build collisions. Well, in fact, no. Build collisions. Is it working? There we go. Right. I believe which way round it is, I don't know. So it works on both of them. So I'm going to pick that as a root bone. That. Now this is where it gets a little bit finicky, so what I'm going to do here is make that 130, and now believe it or not, each time you open this you're going to get different sizes, but that's life. And depending on how you have set your rig up, your positions of your bones and all the rest of it, it's going to depend where these things appear. So as you can see there, I built the collision. We got this funny sphere shape, which actually is a spiral, which is fine. Now what we've got, a capsule. Now I'm going to add another capsule, and that's appeared up there, which is fine by me. It can stay there because this one here, no, not that one, that one I want to rotate. Now this is where I say it gets very, very funny, because it's so awkward. Now unfortunately, for some reason, I cannot see any form of snapping. Might be somewhere, but hey, and let's see if I can move it down a touch. Okay, Now it's very difficult at times to actually see these things. Now if we go in here, you'll see that for whatever reason that collision bit is completely rotated. No idea why, but that's that. Okay, so that will actually give us collision on our crossbar and vertical pole. So we can close that. Thanks to the guy that pointed it out. You're a star, because I didn't even realise. But then I'm not a professional, so who cares? Right, pole material, we're just going to go max distance. And we're doing just max distance for the simple reason it is just a plane. Okay, I forgot to mention that. It's just a straight and simple plane, and so it's single sided. That's why the material had to be two-sided. Right, so what I'm going to do, max distance, paint. This is just the default values, and all I'm doing here is, as you can see, I just want to make sure I don't want to get these ones up here. It's a little bit quirky because I've got everything running and trying to record, so that should be enough. He said go on to single layer cloth simulation and hit simulate, and it's wobbling, and increase the speed. You can see it's wrapping and it's not cutting, and there's a little bit there and it will get stuck. 45 meters a second, that's quite a strong wind, I think. So I'll just have it at 15, and elevation. You can mess about with this. Make sure everything's looking semi-decent. Getting some collision cutting through there. For the moment, it'll do. And then we go back into single layer cloth, save asset, and it will always ask you to save it as clothing tool profile APX. Right, thank you. No, so what we're going to do is go back into my Blender folder, tutorials, T-flag, and as it happens I've already got one that's set up, so I will just T-flag asset 05, fantastic. Exit out. You can save it if you want, I won't bother personally. So now we're going to open the T-flag and clothing file, open, oops, compiling shaders. Now I don't know what actually went wrong there. Okay, yeah, fine. Yeah, it's just because the shaders were compiling. Panic. Right, save. Close that. Save all. Yep. Now you might say, and? Well, we'll go into here and go wind directional source, pick it up there, push it up there, and details, wind strength. Now for whatever reason, no idea. I don't actually get it to work very well on that, so we have got a wind, what I'm going to do is rotate it through that. And at least you can see the arrow that it should be going, and give it a bit of that. Now world settings, third person game mode. And as you can see, you're getting a bit of wind. And okay, if I can do this, yeah, I can walk straight through it because I've got no physics asset on it. Yeah, I'm lighting needs rebuilt and it's all jerky, but hey ho. Right, so very quickly, no, I didn't really want to open that, but hey. Okay, let's create. Don't forget, I'm going to right clicking on the static mesh, not the skeleton. Physics asset. Okay, and it's let's see, for max screen. It says max screen and minimizes it, right. So I'm going to get round to this side. This is one of the funny things. Right, armature. Delete all bodies below. Pole. New body. Okay, and for some reason it's over there. I don't know why. So what we're going to do is very quickly do our best. Perspective. Let's see. Front and that sort of like helps a bit. Why it goes like that, I honestly don't know, but scaling, yeah. Just scale her in and move it down. Scale the actual height down a touch. I suppose if we go, no, okay. Let's go add another one. Get into perspective view. Yeah. As you can see, I'm still, I won't say still, I'm never very good at things like this. So, scale it. This is just to give us a physics asset actually on the mesh. Let's see, top. Is homework? No. Okay. And just there we go. Save that. Close that down. Save. If we go into play, dink. What I'm trying to do here is I'm probably colliding with the top bar because what I did the other day. Let's see if I can just show you. Just going to put that up a touch and play. I can walk straight through the. If anybody's got any tips on how to fix that, I'd appreciate it. But that'll do for the moment. And so I'm not going to recap, but basically make sure when you do this, you have your scene settings to metric, your scale, which is 0.10, which is centimetres. Once you do that, everything should work fine. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. It's been a good half hour, so have fun. If you've got any problems, give me a shout on the forum, please. YouTube's nice, but let's see if this will... if you go onto the forum, forums, Unreal Engine, you can find us. I am GeoDav. Send me a PM, or better, create a thread, whether it's content creation, general discussion, and PM me a notification that you've put the thread there, because I may miss it. Okay, I'm not perfect. Somewhere in here is also a thread created by me, which has ended up being on page something like 695. Only joking, it's somewhere in there, and it's my tutorial thread. I might try and get it back up further into the content creation, but it's either there or community content. It might be in there somewhere, but in fact, let's see if I can very quickly find it. Anybody else? Yeah, all my mates. Fine. I really shouldn't. Thread started by me. That's a recent one, so there we go. GeoDab's UE4 tutorial and support thread. There we go, that's where you'll find it. In community content tools and tutorials. Any issues, please post on here. It makes it easier for everybody to follow. Okay, so I'll leave it at that, and if you got any issues, give us a shout and I'll do my best to help. Okay then, have fun now.